moving ahead to the second panel discussion for the day that is presented by GoKwik. So before we get into this panel, we would like to play an audio visual for all of you to see. Let's have a look on the screens. So our panel is presented by GoKwik, our partner for this panel. And now it is time to set the second panel for the day rolling on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, in the business of brands, it is imperative not only to capitalize on the momentum they have on the present, but also to future-proof the brands for the years to come. In this discussion, our panelists are going to explore how brands are creating experiences and expanding their distribution through physical channels, how engagement is driven for D2C brands, and whether will consumer change their mindset and consumption patterns. The discussion for the panel topic is the future of the D2C industry, and it is presented by GoKwik. So please join me with a round of applause in welcoming our session chair, Gaurav Dhawan, Executive Vice President and Network Revenue Head for Times Network. There he is, Gaurav Dhawan, our session chair for this panel. And now it's time to meet our panelists. Please put your hands together and welcome Mahesh Patel, co-founder, Cloud Tailor. Please give it up for Vishal Kaushik, Managing Director and co-founder for Upakarma Ayurveda. Please give it up for Chirag Taneja, co-founder and CEO for GoKwik. We have Abhinav Mathur, CEO for Somethings Brewing. Meenu Margaret, founder and CEO for Bliss Club. Rohit Chawla, founder and CEO for Bare Anatomy. Our esteemed lineup of speakers for this panel that is going to deliberate thoughts on the future of the D2C industry in India. Talking about the changing consumer patterns, consumer mindset, behaviors, and of course, making the brand not only cater to the needs of today, but also to make it future-proof for the years to come. All of this and more on this panel, moderated by Gaurav Dhawan, Executive Vice President and Network Revenue Head for Times Network. We would also like to invite Abhishek Chandra, CRO for GoKwik, to join us on stage.
He's already here.
Oh, he's already here with us.
He's very quick.
My apologies. Please, let's begin with the discussion. I would request our session chair to lead the talk.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. It's great to be here and have some exciting conversations with so many founders, right? Unfounded it is, isn't it? So, like we said, we're going to look at how D2C as a category has expanded over the last 3 to 4 years, and how some of these founders found their journey to be very interesting and scaled up businesses, touched many of our lives in one way or the other, and become an inspiration for a next generation of entrepreneurs, founders to take a leap of faith. So we're going to start our session with a few, let's say, questions that some of you may want to take on, and then I'll go into specific plans. So D2C by nature has always been a very open architecture, play, which means there's hardly any barrier. Anybody can start an organization and jump in. So if that be the case, for all these brave entrepreneurs, founders, it's quite amazing to know how they are able to retain their edge. On this, I would like to invite Mini to to be the opening batter and start share her insights as to how they will retain the edge for Bliss Club.
Hey, thanks, Gaurav. Hey, everyone. I'm Meenu, the founder and CEO of Bliss Club. Bliss Club is an activewear brand for women. We've been around for almost a year and a half. Yeah, I think it's a great question. It's probably a question I ask myself a lot before starting up. I think two parts to it. The first part really being product, and that being the nucleus of everything we're building. Really kind of going deep, staying closer to the consumers, and really iterating around product, right? And I think that's what a D2C brand, as compared to incumbents who probably are not D2C and hence don't have as much of qualitative or quantitative information about consumers, what they're buying, why they're buying, what their need states are. We sell leggings, pockets on the left, pockets on the right. What do women want? We can really go as deep as to testing what is the width of the zip at the back that we make so that all phones of every consumer actually fits in, right? And going to that depth of product building honestly is something that a direct-to-consumer brand can do and should keep doing and iterating faster and faster. And I think the second part of the question really is just brand and storytelling, right? That's what you can do and build a moat for yourself, which is if you do have great product, you do have to move at a certain speed to build out a space in a consumer's mind in terms of why you exist in their lives. And yeah, I think it's been a mix of both for us. In Bliss Club, we stand for something very different when it comes to activewear. Well, most activewear brands have spoken about performance and moving at a certain pace and being first, second, third, going to the gym every day. We've actually taken a very antithesis approach to fitness, saying that, hey, we're here to celebrate your journey in movement, and really then carving out a brand that is distinctly positioned in a consumer's mind and being able to iterate that, again and again, and really build a brand with the consumer. So I think both of these, is kind of what's worked for us.
So you need a great marketing team to get that differentiator going alive always, right?
Yeah, of course. I mean, we're building a brand. The nucleus of everything is marketing and product. So I would say both together. Yeah.
Okay, that's great. Vishal, if I was to ask you, how would you retain your edge?
So firstly, thank you all, and so happy to be in the august company of such amazing founders. And thank you E4M and Business World for bringing us all together. So I'll be very honest, I think the first step is the most difficult for all the young entrepreneurs, which one should believe is the edge will not come later on. Edge needs to come just like the conventional old school strategies on a strategy level. You have to find your X factor yourself as a brand. Is it the product? Is it the service? But once you have found that, you need to be very consistent in delivering whatever it is, whether it's a service in your case or it's a product. The quality needs to be resistance and it takes time. Nothing is going to happen. We see a lot of trending, the brands you were talking about who are popping up, and how do you create edge? So the edge comes from your strategy level, which is on product, and the second big thing is innovation. So innovations are very integral to any industry, especially our D2C. We were actually known as the disruptors, right? I mean, look at our case. And for 70 years, Shilajit was sold with lions and tigers and honeymoon couples on the product. Yeah, but we launched Pure Shilajit, and now the rest is history. You have so many brands who are now launched the same product. So the only shortfall I feel why people are not, most of them are getting edges because they're going with the trends. So taking example of beauty, you remember charcoal face packs were in. So then everybody, some 10, 20 brands were launched. So how do you find an edge factor if you're not strategically doing something different, you're not in your content doing anything different? So it becomes tougher. So I think at the strategy level, and then be there for the long haul. Make sure that whether it's your quality and everything is taken care of, and consistency. And the rest, today's customer is very, very intelligent, and the interaction is so much between a D2C brand and the consumer that there is no middleman. Whether it's good or bad, we get to know instantly. And that's what we need to respect. and it's all evolving. So I guess everybody will be able to find their edge, and most if they don't, best of luck.
So innovation it is for you. Mahesh, what about you? How do you keep your edge? Because anybody can start, a stitching enterprise from home. That's the most easiest thing to do. But how will you keep your edge?
So, hi guys, hi everyone. My name is Mahesh, and I'm the co-founder of Cloud Tailor. We are into personalized fashion and tailoring for women's, and we are having presence across 16 cities right now. So when we started this concept around 20 months back, actually idea was to become a marketplace, and we thought that we have other two founders who come from a tech background, so we thought that we will have a tech understanding, we will build the entire ecosystem, and get all the darjis on board. But soon we realized that making right fit for the women's is the biggest problem, and we are at the mercy of a tailor or a master G. So we thought that it will not sustain. In a 4 month, we pivoted the entire business model, and that's where we started our own manufacturing in Hyderabad with a 300 square feet place. And then we evolved in terms of with the time where we understood that stitching is not limited to blouse or a sari or pico or in terms of a kurta or salwar, but women have a 14 categories. Because when we look at men's, usually we have a t-shirt or a shirt, and also in a regular fit or a slim fit, nothing else. And also we are okay with the whatever the fit, we can survive. But that's not the case with the women. So we kind of work on the 14 categories. Now the biggest problem in this, start with that you have for a formal and western, you have a different master and a tailor. The guy who stitch ethnic, who doesn't understand formal and western. So also we wanted to kind of understand the pivot this entire part of in backend, because this entire business model survive on the backend. Even if I get the customer, if I get right set of marketing, I acquire the customer, but if I do not provide right sort of fit, they will not stay with us. So we started with F-first approach, and today we have become a complete physical business model where we have a branded outlet, website, and also our app. So we have evolved with the customer, but then this journey has happened meeting more than 500 customers face-to-face, understanding their problem area. So where we understood that what is the problem? One is a boutique anxiety. When you give an outfit, you do not get the clarity in terms of when do you get the delivery. So we have integrated that entire journey in the app. Second, we understood that one of the issues is the alteration. So when you get the garment stitch, your biggest problem is getting altered every time. So here we started offering lifetime alteration. So by solving that problem, I think our stickiness to the business increased.
So I'm coming to that. That's exactly my next question, because personalization is the key. That is one of the advantages that businesses like yours bring to the table. So how do you make mass personalization work? Rohit, if I was to toss that up to you, is mass personalization a reality? Does it have enough potential, and does it really work?
Sure. Thank you. I'm the founder of Bare Anatomy. It's a personalized hair care brand, so I think that's the reason why the question is here. So personalization is very much possible. Hyper-personalization is what you really mean. There's a lot of investment in technology, and the infrastructure changes, right? If one has the capital to do it, it's a little capital intensive. There are a lot of companies in the US, like eSalon or Function of Beauty, who have raised 100 million or so to kind of have that infrastructure to do it. If that's done, it is possible. However, the limit is that you do miss out on Amazons and Nikas of the world, the retails of the world, because that's where the real scale is eventually after a while, right? But personalization is great because it really helps you connect with the consumer to another level. The kind of data you get and the kind of solutions you give, it's an immense learning. Like, it really accelerated our learning to another level because of personalization, because we could tweak our, when we started in 2019, we were not the best, right? But with time, I think we have grown very well, and now the standard range we have launched, just because we didn't want to miss out on the standard range on the channels. Now I think it's been a great learning for us.
So I was reading about some of the work that you've done. You are able to personalize this to the level where you ask people what is the nature of the scalp and what is the kind of hair and what is their desire. So are people coming forward to you with those insights, or it is still little hazy?
So men don't usually do that. They don't have the patience to take such a big quiz. For them, body wash, shave gel, everything is the same thing sometimes. Just kidding. I'm the founder of the Man Company as well, so that was my previous venture. So, but I think people do give data because they are unable, and that's what the thesis was. Like, personalization is that intimate relationship with the consumer, and the consumer is looking for such products because, there are so many shampoos out there. It's one of the most commoditized products. I mean, it was introduced over like 40, 50 years back, right? Probably more. But why are people still not satisfied? And that was the reason why we kind of wanted to do the other way around, because nobody disrupted the industry in that sense. Instead of customer choosing what they want and every season it changes or whatever, we wanted to have that where we could do a little more analytical approach and kind of figure this out and help them as much as we can.
Okay, that's great. Another important aspect of scaling businesses up is how and when do you decide to go physical? Okay, phygital is the buzzword nowadays. So how do brands like you, really decide to go? Abhinav, I really want to know from you, how do brands decide? At what point they want to now get from online to offline?
Okay. Hi, everyone. So I am the founder of a brand called Something's Brewing. We are the home for all coffee lovers. So for us, we are a brand born in the pandemic. So we launched our D2C e-commerce portal on 1st October 2020. 1st October, incidentally, is International Coffee Day. So that's the day we decided to launch our portal. And during the first year, our initial traction was there. But then very soon we realized that the kind of products we are selling, our AOVs are close to 10,000 rupees. These are expensive products. A no-name brand out of nowhere, people don't want to trust you with so much of money being spent on the site. Also, coffee is a very experiential product. You want to taste it, you want to try it, you want to also check out so many types of coffee brewing methods. And that, of course, is not possible online. So within a year, so 1st October 2021, on our first anniversary of the launch of the brand, we launched our first physical store. So we did it very early, but that is because it fits into the kind of space we are in, the kind of consumer insights we were generating, and what we believed is right for the brand and the category. So I think it depends from brand to brand, but for us, we decided to do it very, very early. I know a lot of brands take a lot of time launching the first retail retail place. But it's also given us a lot of insights because we now physically meet consumers, spend a lot of time with them. The decision making sometimes takes 2 or 3 months, multiple visits of people to the store. But a lot of insights get generated in this period of time. So again, depends on the brand or the category. For us, it made sense right from day zero.
So when you get into a physical store, how does it help beyond decision making? Are you able to cross-sell, or which you may find difficult in an online version? The customer may have come to buy X, but you have eventually given him X plus Y.
So we have a store in Indiranagar, Bangalore. Everyone who enters, it's like being in a chocolate factory. They can't, resist touching and feeling everything. They spend a lot of time. They get their friends in. Of course, cross-selling, upselling, engagement, everything happens. The word spreads. So a beautiful community is formed. So there are so many benefits of having a physical space if you do it properly and if you're true to the mission of the brand, which for us is building a large coffee community.
Okay, great. Minu, if I was to bring you on that, when would you like to really go big on a physical enterprise, or is that not really going to be a plan?
Yeah, no, we actually do have thoughts about offline as well. But I just wanted to add something really interesting that I have learned. So we don't have an offline store as of yet. But something that I've heard from, we have folks in Chumbak, at Bliss Club, something that I've heard from Abhishek from Puma. You know, a lot of founders would tell me that having the first store co-located with the office is probably one of the smartest things that they've ever done, because a lot of product building happens so real time, and you know, while you're building a company, your company is not built by one person. It's built by, you know, hundreds of people who put their thoughts together. And how do you get hundreds of people to actually be so close to the consumer and be obsessed with what's happening on the floor is really just living that and being with the consumers. And you know, so I think Chumbak had their first store right below their office, and that's what we're doing as well. So we're launching our first kind of a retail, like experiential store right below our new office as well. And the idea is that how do you then have everyone working in Bliss Club come and see how our Bliss Queens are actually touching and feeling the product, how are they walking down the store, you know, and right behind our store, we've set up our product development team as well. So it's as real time as possible. So I actually think the power of offline also extends to product building and helps create like a shorter flywheel in terms of understanding consumers. So that's something I'm very bullish about.
How soon will you expand into that?
Probably in the next 12 months, yeah.
Okay, that's great. Abhishek Chandra. So your company is an expert in accelerating, you know, business growth for brands into the D2C environment. So in your experience, what are, say, the top 3 challenges that D2C brands face, and how do you help overcome them?
Sure. So as you know that we are an e-commerce enablement company, and basically we use deep tech and data science to solve some very hard-hitting problems like low conversion rates, return to origin on COD orders. So see, the thing is, when we started this company, what we saw as a problem statement was that in India, the first time shopping experience online happens on players like Amazon, Flipkart, which are primarily tech companies, been running for 10, 15 years, where they have optimized their customer experience and all. So when these customers go to Amazon and do their first time shopping, and when they basically do their first time D2C transaction, they believe that they'll get the same kind of experience on that platform also, which is not right, because these companies are new, and currently they are trying to optimize their other things like operations, supply chain, getting the right product into the market. So we thought that let's start working on giving, let's say, an Amazon kind of experience on non-Amazon and non-Flipkart kind of customers, which was basically D2C brands. So we started basically working on that. As we were discussing earlier, that in D2C, the entry barrier is very low. Anyone can start a D2C brand. So giving the right customer experience to the user is a very big differentiator. So which starts from basically all 4 stages of the funnel, from discovery to selection to transaction to retention. So you have to be good in everything. So we have built different solutions at various stages of the customer journey, so that we can enable more and more conversion rate for our D2C partners.
So, Rohit, if I was to bring you on this.
Can you repeat, like?
What are the challenges that come forward for a D2C brand?
So I think one biggest challenge is that, you know, as we mentioned in the start, right, the barriers have gone down significantly, because of which it has never been easier to start a business. You know, like when I started, you know, even Shopify, I was one of the top single digits, like 5th person to get Shopify in India. But now that's a standard thing, right, that you can just have, right? So when those challenges have been taken care of, everyone can do that, right? Our ex-employees are now building their companies, which is great. But what happens is, in the limelight to build a company, one forgets what are they launching and why is it different, and why would the consumers pay for it. So, and as a result, everyone's sort of now getting funding as well, unlike, you know, like 5 years back when D2C nobody was touching it. So it also leads to a lot of money, and because of that, CAC has gone up, which is the customer acquisition cost, significantly. Even the big FMCG companies, because of pandemic, have also started advertising. So, there are a lot of choking factors over there, stuff like that. So I think those are
So
some...
do you think, especially Menu for you and Rohit, a lot of your products will have a seasonal trend? Okay, there'll be a season when people want, creams for the winter season, creams for the summer season, different kind of, hair serums. Similarly for you. So how do you scale up or scale down, keeping in mind the seasonal requirements?
So that's an interesting question. I think a lot of businesses have it and some don't. I run a Innovest, which is a parent company for 3 brands. So we have a hair care, we have skin care, we have a sunscreen. So right now, like, it's the rainy season, right? And by default, people don't see the sun as much. So they're not buying as much of sunscreen, which is not true because you still have an impact. But it's very seasonal from that perspective. But unlike the hair care range, we don't see seasonality so much because the problem may change. In winters, the dandruff might increase, but in rainy season, the frizz might increase. So the product ratio, the mix may change, but as a business, it doesn't really impact certain ranges.
How about you, Minu? Do seasons matter and scaling up and down as per seasons become a challenge? Or in your case, not just seasons, trends. You came out with a particular fashionable product and suddenly something else is hotter.
Yeah, no, actually, very contrary to that, our product is very non-seasonal and non-trendy, right? We're building functional products. People work out through 12 months in a year, and in fact, we build for movement. So really, actually, our category is super non-trend driven, and that's also like a basic thesis on what we build product. If you see Bliss Club products, you mostly see very functional colors. We don't do very crazy patterns. We don't build design first, but function first. So yeah, we actually we aren't very seasonal, though the last quarter of the year when all of us take our New Year's resolution to get fit again. So December, Jan is a peak month for us. But honestly, to be very, very honest, I've just seen one season of it and I wasn't as big. So it wasn't really difficult to deal with. But yeah, maybe I'll have a better answer for you next year.
Cool, cool. So of late, many companies are tightening their privacy norms, right? Some of the handset manufacturers have brought in newer tools which don't allow you to really, bombard messages and outreach. So Abhishek, how would you react to this data privacy becoming a challenge for marketeers, and how will they enhance their outreach? If, like, even Facebook, I believe, has started now giving less of options to target consumers easily. So how does this expand?
So as we all know, data privacy is a very important thing, and which was basically primarily ignored for many, many years, at least in India. So that is why you see all those restrictions coming to Facebook and, let's say, Facebook and other social media platform. But still, marketing companies have found out ways to basically market brands there. But still, I think there should be, it is always great that there is a third party involved in between who follows all those data privacy norms. In fact, in our case also, we have to undergo a PCI DSS certification, even though it is not, because we were handling third party data of our clients. So similarly, I think with these, it is getting tough for D2C brands, and in fact, it results in increase in CAC also for many of the D2C brands on these digital marketing channels. But still, I didn't see much of resistance happening. Maybe you as D2C brand can put in more highlight into this. That are you facing this kind of challenge?
Mahesh?
So I think one of the part, I think for a D2C brand, I think we have a limited budget when you are a startup. And always we look at it, what is the CAC is coming. Also, if you are a funded investor, will always ask you what is your CAC. So we always kind of, juggling around two things. One is decreasing our acquisition cost. And when this has implemented, I think one is our acquisition cost will go, be it upper funnel, mid funnel, or lower funnel. And the second thing will happen, which is the retention part of it. So like if particularly when we can't capture the cookies and do the remarketing part of it, or again, if you look at in terms of the WhatsApp policy, I think that will only increase our retention cost. So overall, I think burn will happen more.
That's great. I've been waiting to ask you this question, Vishal. Considering your hero product is a Shilajit, how do you enhance engagement?
So yeah, thank you for saying that our hero product is Shilajit and marketing for us. It's not just our hero product, we are the category creators if we are talking about it. So in reality, it's not just the product like Shilajit. I think engagement goes beyond in today's age. So I come from very old, my life has started as an advertising trainee. So conventional campaigns and today's content is the key. And it's a 24/7, 365 days, because no matter what a cool campaign somebody makes, it takes precisely one scroll over and your campaign's gone. That's the kind of traffic and that's the kind of content that's going around in the digital space. So for engagement at Upakarma, we are very, very, in our brand DNA itself, our ethos itself say that for the engagement, the privacy bit, we are very, very careful about that we don't really intrude into people, we give that space. And the key to engagement today is content, and second is being interactive. So in D2C, the biggest advantage we have is that you launch something or you do something, there is a direct connect that the consumer has with you. Now, if, as I said, 24/7, 365, your teams are constantly interactive, so that engagement actually converts into trust, a good relationship between the customer and us. But if you are not proactively going out there seeking people's feedbacks and what the market is talking about, how your content has been accepted or not, so these are the few most integral bit because of the crowd that is there today in the digital space. I mean, gone are the days 3 years back that just by an influencer campaign, your outreach can reach somewhere, because the same influencer today in 8 videos is doing 30 brands. So the time lapse for consumer is a very big thing.
Great. Abhinav, if I was to ask you, how are consumer mindsets different when they specifically deal with a D2C brand?
So by definition, when you're building a D2C brand, you're essentially looking at a slightly early stage category, early stage product. It is not perfectly developed. And the kinds of consumers you meet are also early adopters. They are more experimental. They are willing to try new things. So our experience has been that these kind of customers they know a lot about the product or the category because they've done their research, so they come very well prepared. So they expect the brand to be competent, more competent than a large brand, because they expect that they are dealing with people who are very passionate, they understand what they're doing. So in our case, coffee, so the kind of consumers we meet, they are well traveled, they know a lot about coffee brewing, home brewing, grind sizes, roast sizes, all the kind of factors that go into brewing a great cup of coffee, and the discussions are very meaningful. But they also are willing to be loyal, they are also willing to be forgiving, and also forgiving with their wallets. So, there was some discussion even earlier in the day around cash on delivery and, RTOs. I was mentioning some of our customers pay us 3 months in advance, and then we slowly procure the product for them and deliver it to them, and they're happy with it. So again, depends on the category you're in, but in general, consumers are more forgiving, but are more knowledgeable. What they don't like is if you don't know enough about your product, your category, but otherwise, the other factors, they are willing to, forgive you.
Cool. Moving to the last stage, logistics is a pretty important part of this business. So Minu, if I was to ask you, and then Rohit, you could also take that up, how are you differentiating your service on the basis of logistics?
That's a good question. For us, honestly, something very core to Bliss Club is to provide a blissful experience for our consumers. So Bliss is something that we try to extend across our product as schools up, as well as services. So I think in terms of everything, and I think that's the very, very basic expectation from a young challenger brand is to just offer everything upfront. So we have free returns, free exchanges, no questions asked. We make a lot of exceptions to policies. If someone comes back 10 days later but have had a bad experience with any of our products, we're okay to kind of go and pick it up and replace it. But honestly, I think right now, like Rohit was saying earlier, the ecosystem is so evolved for D2C, where you have so many enablers, really kind of, easing out a lot of the operational heavy lifting that most D2C brands have to do. And a lot of great logistic providers who've done that. And, the kind of technology they've built into, predicting RTOs, reducing that for us, helping through exchanges, returns. I really feel that D2C has been able to kind of compete with, larger platforms who've provided a certain experience in a consumer's mind. And we've been able to kind of keep up to it. But yeah, that's it for us in Bliss Club.
Rohit, last word from you.
Yeah, so I think she's probably covered everything. Just a couple of things is that the delivery time in certain cases matter a lot sometimes. So people are impatient for things. So that's why the Dunzos and the Blinkits, etc., are gaining a lot of popularity. And you're just available there as well. So, and also you have platforms like ShipRocket, which are aggregators where you can have a 1 day or a 2 day delivery, even in south of India, even though we are a north-based brand, for example. So those kind of things, the system, the entire infrastructure has evolved that way.
Great, man. Thank you very much for all your valuable inputs. It was great talking to you. And I'm sure you will inspire the next gen of founders to come in and take a leap of faith. Thanks a lot. Have a great day.
Thank you very much.